Get up on what's trending.
Get up!
You're listening to the Front Page Report on HBCU Pulse Radio.
What's going on, everybody? This is Randall, the founder of HBCU Pulse and the host of HBCU Pulse Radio that you can hear on SiriusXM, channel 142, every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, and also wherever you get your podcast. I'm in for a very special, important video that is important to me for so many reasons. I am a media connoisseur. I'm always looking at viewership numbers. I'm always critiquing shows. I used to do it on YouTube. I stopped doing it. I changed my lane a little bit. But as I was just chilling, trying to see what's going on, trying to peep the scene, I saw a video that the Grownish page released with Yara Shahidi. And I saw Yara Shahidi's, body language, sort of how she was looking. And it said an important message from Yara Shahidi. And I knew what time it was. I knew that Yara Shahidi was going to be announcing that Grownish was canceled. And she, in fact, did. Here's the video if you haven't seen it.
Hey Grownish fam, it's Yara, and I wanted to share the news with you guys. Our day ones that season 6 of Grownish will be our final season. But don't be sad, because we're gonna do it up big. This season will air in 2 parts. The first half will premiere this summer, and the second half will be coming in 2024, which means you still have a full year with the crew at Cal U. And we have so much to celebrate this season, including hitting our 100th episode. We'll have some amazing guest stars joining us, like Lil Yachty, Anderson .Paak and the Free Nationals, along with some other exciting people that we'll share soon. You guys have been with us since season 1, and it has been such an honor to play Zoe and grow up alongside her for the past 9 years. Your support over the last 5 seasons has really meant the world to us, the cast and crew, and we want to take the time to thank you all for the love and support that has kept us going. And like I said, there's still another season to go, and trust me, it's gonna be big. So you can catch up on the last 5 seasons now on Hulu, and we'll see you this summer on Freeform.
So a lot of folks that are listening might not know about my strong disdain for Grownish. And I want to just be clear, I do not watch Grownish anymore. I stopped watching, I would say, episode 2 of season 5 last year, because I just was not feeling it at all, because how they were treating Junior and how they were treating that whole story, the storyline with Junior and his new friends in college. I just didn't like it. It was nowhere near the portions of Grownish that I did like. My favorite season of Grownish was season 2, because it felt like the young version of Blackish. And that's what I thought that Grownish would be. Blackish is one of my favorite shows of all time. I started watching in 2014 when it first came out, and I rarely ever missed an episode, even when I started going to college. It tackled so many pertinent issues. They made them relatable. They made them funny. They were serious when they needed to be. It was amazing. So when I heard that Yara Shahidi, who was an amazing actress, an amazing performer, that she was going to have her own show and that she was going to be going to college and they were going to talk about college issues, and essentially it seemed as if they were going to do a college version of Blackish, I was like, count me in. Now, when I watched season 1, it was cool. I kept watching. They leaned a lot into relationships, especially in that season finale, but it wasn't necessarily bad. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. And I kept telling myself, I'm not the market for Grownish. The market for Grownish is young women ages 18 to 34, especially in that college age range, and also 12 and up. I understood that as a black man at the time that was like 20, 21, that I was not the market, okay? Season 2, they hit a pocket where it was literally the young version of Blackish. They talked about so many things. Like, they talked about rape culture. They talked about depression. They talked about genius, which I thought that was a really great episode. They talked about so many pertinent topics, but there was also the relationship side of things. Like, there was also the drama amongst the friend group. Like, there were a lot of things about season 2 that I really liked that made me think of Blackish. It was very on brand. Now, I didn't like how they tried to do the whole entire, hey, we're a different world. We're going to do a different world theme. We're going to do an HBCU theme party. Didn't like that. I wasn't the biggest fan of that, but I really liked what season 2 was. Then, of course, they bring in Ryan Destiny. I'm excited to see what Ryan Destiny is going to do at that time, because there was a lot of criticism that there was not a variance of black skin tones on Grownish. So you bring in Ryan Destiny, who is a darker skinned young woman. She's beautiful. She's a great performer, great actress, great future. And we're thinking, man, it's going to be interesting. And then she's a HBCU transfer from Spelman. So we're thinking we're going to get the HBCU side of things. We didn't. and Ryan Destiny essentially was a guest star, was a regular guest star because she barely had any lines, barely was around for episodes. She was just stuck with Luca, wasn't all that compelling. And then the last thing Ryan Destiny did on Grownish was she was doing a documentary on Sky and Jazz. Wasn't really doing anything important. She was a side character that was just filler to give us a break from Zoe's obnoxiousness. So we keep going. COVID happens. They cut season 3 in half. They come back. They take a break. Season 3, didn't really like how season 3 ended. Then season 4 happens. I hate season 4. I honestly did. Then I found out that the OG cast, the majority of them, only Diggy, Trevor Jackson, and Yara Shahidi were going to stay, and everybody else was leaving. I'm like, is that a sign of the times? Is that a sign this needs to end? And that last episode of season 4 needed to be the series finale. Zoe was graduating. Everyone was graduating. They should have did that second to last episode. They should have maybe did like a flashback episode of all the hijinks they got into, then created a really nice storyline, closing out the series, have them go out with a sense of a great legacy. But then they said, you know what? We're going to extend it and bring in Junior and make Diggy and Trevor and Yara, make them supporting characters. And I'm like, why did y'all do that? Just end the show. And the thing about it is that I'm not just saying it because I didn't like the show. One thing about me is that I like to have data to back up my points. So let's talk about why it makes sense that Grownish is not getting another season and we're not going to see Junior graduate. So first and foremost, they lost a lot of their viewership audience. They dipped below 100,000 people watching season 5 a whopping 4 times. Episode 3, they had 96,000 people that were watching. They went up that next week to 136. Then episode 13, 10 episodes later, 94,000 people were watching. Then you would think, okay, it's gonna go back up to about 100,000. Maybe something was going on around that time. But the next week, 89,000 people watched. So it dipped even lower for episode 14. Then you have 111,000 people that watch episode 15. Episode 16, 86,000 people watched. Typically, if you reach that low of viewership, you might get canceled mid-season. We might not even see the rest of the episodes with how ruthless linear television can be. But you have to look at this, though. So you can say that that was an aberration. No one wanted to see Junior as the head of Grownish. And I would agree with you. I actually would agree because, you know, Zoe did get annoying. But here's my thing, though. I want to paint the picture of the average number of viewers for Grownish and how it dropped precipitously from season 1 in 2018 to the Junior-led season 5. So season 1, it was 622,000 average viewers. Season 2, it drops to 474,000. That's fine, especially if you can maintain around that number. That's fine. Season 2 was really good. Season 3, and we can say the COVID layout messed up things, it dipped to 332,000. And the thing about it, that first episode in season 3, when they came back from the COVID layover in 2021, it got like 400,000 people that watched it. And then it went right back down to around that 300,000 number. But that still isn't bad. I mean, that still is good. It's cable. That's still fine. So then season 4, it dropped to 206,000 average viewers. That's bad. And then especially when we're thinking that it's going to be the season finale, what's going to happen with Zoe and Aaron, Zoe and Luca, like Luca might get back with Zoe, they might go to New York, like all these different things, right? So we're thinking this series is going to end, let me watch it. It didn't even bring people in. They had 206 average viewers for that season. Then they dipped to 118,000 average viewers for season 5. The cancellation has been on the wall since season 3 because you dipped so low between season 1 and season 3, and between season 1 and season 5, it's an 81% drop in viewership. So with Grownish, the writing was on the wall. It was going to be canceled. And I talked about it in 2021 when season 3 came back with my co-host Janae Tallison at that time. She was a Tennessee State University student. She was a media student, and she and I used to go in on Grownish. She was more impartial to Grownish than I was. I was very much so going in. And we have those episodes. Most of those episodes are up on YouTube. You can go watch them. And I'm going to play you the segment that we did because we were meticulous with our planning. But let's let's start with this. So Janae and I did some digging for this edition of the Grownish After Party. And we found some very interesting things, and we want to break it down for you because while Grownish today, they had a really great episode today, and we're going to talk about it. I just want to just signal some issues that I'm seeing, okay? So Grownish has seen a sharp decline in ratings since its premiere in January of 2018. And I'm going to put on my account executive hat because, I'm an account executive for iHeart. I'm going to put that on. We have the steady stats. And if you are a mass comm major and you're in, behavioral stats and you're in mass media stats, I need y'all to keep up, okay? So season 1 of Grownish had 622,000 viewers on average for that first season. And they started off high with those first 2 episodes that played on the same day. You had late registration, 950,000 viewers. You had, and I'm not going to say the first part of the episode, but don't care my vibe. Yeah. That had 920,000 views. So, that was the first 2 episodes of the season. Starboy had a huge rating showing as well, and that was the introduction of Cash into the series. But here's the thing, the season finale, they were like, oh, who will Zoe choose? Will she choose Cash? Will she choose Luca? Will she choose Aaron? Find out next week. We didn't want to find out because it dropped to 395,000 views. We didn't really want to find out. So season 2 is like, okay, you know what? Season 1, people want to see what was up. Season 1, let's see what's happening in season 2. So season 2 saw a precipitous drop in total viewership. So 474,000 viewers on average for the season. The highest rated episodes, episode 1, 672,000 views, which is better. And then the second episode premiered on the same day, which is Nothing Was the Same. It dropped same day, like 30 minutes, one episode, 30 minutes, next episode. It dropped to 556,000 views for that second episode, a 116,000 viewer drop. Okay, so we're seeing some trends here. So episode 4 of that series, In My Feelings, you guys remember that episode? It was about geniuses. They brought up Beyonce. They brought up Kanye West. They brought up what constituted genius, and the promos were amazing for it. We saw them get 642,000 viewers after they hit some lows. Then season 2, episode 6, Love Galore, they got 603,000 views, but they bottomed out at 422,000 viewers, up from the first season, but 230,000 viewers in the hole. They dropped. Do y'all see a trend? Okay, so let's go to season 3. Season 3 is not over. They can switch it around. But I'm just saying, okay? Season 3, so far, from last year before the pandemic to now, 360,000 viewers on average for the season. Their highest rated episodes was 3. They peak episode 1. People want to see what's popping. It had 482,000 views. Season 3, episode 3, Close Friends, 456. Season 3, episode 9, Public Service Announcement, which was last week, 434. Do y'all see where I'm going with this? So they've lost 200,000 viewers on average after season 1 for live viewing. We cannot. I tried to find the Hulu viewing. I tried to find, live plus same day, which is DVR. A lot of folks be busy. So you might watch on YouTube TV, DVR. Could not find those numbers. We're going to try to find them. But I want you guys just to paint your own picture, okay? Blackish, it's a pandemic. Oh, Randall's a pandemic. No one's watching TV. NBA numbers going down. NFL numbers are going down. Blackish ratings have increased. They're at 2.5 million. I want you to just tell me what you think of this. I'm just bringing up the numbers. Shows that have had the same rating share, which is Grownish has a 15 rating share and the 18 to 49 demo. That's our demo. And they have 395,000, around that 300,000 viewer number. And these are the shows on Freeform. I'm going to mention the shows. I want Janae to let me know what happened to these shows, okay? So Stitchers, Shadowhunter, Kevin from Work, Cloak and Dagger, and Guilt. So Janae, what happened to those shows?
Oh, they're all canceled. They're no longer on air. So if Grownish keeps going the way they're going, this will be the last season, or maybe just season 4 will be the last season just based on the numbers, because as a showrunner and all those things, you have to keep a consistent numberage and a consistent viewership. And if your viewership is going down by the tens of thousands at a time and has been decreasing for the past 2 to 3 years, these past couple seasons, you will not get more than one season. They may let you end because, it was a staple show at one point, but these shows are canceled now. So it's not looking very good for Grownish based on the numbers.
Like, I'm telling you, and see, Janae said it, not me. Okay, I just want to let you know, because y'all probably gonna think I'm just hating and Randall just think XYZ. I'm just going by the numbers because I want to see Grownish win. It's the only college show that is on TV. But if they continue this trend of episodes we saw last week, we might see Grownish end, and we might have no college shows, and we might hope that maybe on All American, Buddy go to college, or maybe go to HBCU. We don't know. Man, listen, we were cooking. Like, I even predicted All American Homecoming, because at that time we didn't know that All American was going to turn into Simone going to college. Then she went to an HBCU. So, that became a new show that popped up while Grownish was still here. And I was saying that, man, that's the show we're watching now, because it's way more compelling than what Grownish is. But, that was our thoughts on it. And I mean, there's nothing more I really can say than what we already said, because those were stats we were reading in February of 2021. And now we have a longer list of stats and figures and analytics that says that Grownish just simply stopped working and people stopped watching it. I really wanted Grownish to get canceled because I felt as if there was no need for it anymore, but I'm not rejoicing too much, because as I'm like, well, yeah, it should have been gotten canceled. At the same time, I know that there's going to be a lot of folks that's going to lose their jobs once, the show finally does get canceled. They're going to film that season 6. Hopefully they, get a good check, have a good time. But a lot of writers, a lot of producers, a lot of backstage folks like, the camera crew and the makeup artist and all the other folks like that work on a set such as Grownish, they're going to lose their jobs. And there's going to be a lot of black folks that most likely are going to lose their jobs. And I know it's hard in the media industry in general, but especially on that entertainment TV show side of things, I know it's hard to get a gig. So I'm never going to cheer for that. What I believe is that Grownish could have been more, and they were given opportunities to be more. Because as you saw from back what we talked about in February 2021 to even what I referenced today, those numbers were lagging, man. And they had a lot of time, a lot of bandwidth to really get it together, and they never did. And that's the most unfortunate part about it. And I believe that all black creatives need to look at, what became of Grownish and try to do something better. And I think that All American Homecoming, although it has its faults, it's been better. I want to see more college-based shows that are better at showing the experience. And they don't have to be HBCU shows. And that's my thing. It didn't have to be set in an HBCU. I know a lot of folks were hurt about that because Junior was going to go to Howard, but he took a gap year. Then he went to Cal U. They had Andre go to Howard because Anthony Anderson went to Howard. I know. And then Kenya Bears went to Clark Atlanta. They didn't have to be at an HBCU for the show to be good. They could have been at Cal U. It could have worked, but they just needed to be better at creating satire based on the issues that I know we were going through when the show was primarily airing. When I was in college, 2018, I was a junior. 2019, I was a senior, graduated December 2019. So if they could have encapsulated the issues that we were going through at that time that were universal to HBCUs and PWIs, I think it would have been an amazing show. And there's a lot of comedy to find within those great areas of college, but they just didn't. And it turned into a soap opera. And I think a lot of folks, including the key demographic of young women ages 18 to 34, I believe they got tired of it and they moved on, especially when Junior became the lead. They moved on. But that it is what it is. And I will say that I will try to watch the last season the best that I can. I don't know if I'll be able to suffer it, but I will try. But nevertheless, man, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to follow HBCU Pulse on Instagram and YouTube at HBCU Pulse, Twitter and TikTok, the HBCU Pulse. Make sure to listen to HBCU Pulse Radio on SiriusXM, channel 142 HBCU, Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central. And subscribe to our podcast platforms on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow me personally at Author Randall B on Instagram and Twitter. But outside of that, thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, we'll see you on the other side.
Like what you hear?
Yeah.
Subscribe to HBCU Pulse Radio on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, head to HBCUPulse.com to stay up to date on what's going on in the HBCU community. Thank you for listening to HBCU Pulse Radio.